Hi, this is Vicky from Vicky's Corner, and you are watching Retro Game Launch. RGL is my favorite show.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks so much for stopping by, and welcome to the 10th anniversary special here on Mr. Jimbo Fox, the Jimbo Channel Retro Game Launch, I guess whatever you want to call it, since it's kind of changed hands several times over the years. So this is basically kind of my love letter to you, to everybody who's been watching me over the past decade since I started in May of 2009. And just figured we'd do a little retrospective and just kind of go over how things started, you know, the different stages and phases of the channel, like how A connected to B and B connected to C and C connected to Z, and, you know, zombie kits, you know, retro game lounge, you know, all that kind of stuff. Just like a giant retrospective just to cover everything that's happened in the last crazy 10 years. And we'll break this down into segments, just kind of take it one step at a time, start, you know, kind of chronologically, just kind of move through the years. And throughout the course of this video, you're actually going to be hearing from some of my friends here on YouTube, both old and new, you know, people that have known me here for quite a long time, and people that are relatively new to the channel by comparison. But I guess there's only one place to start, and that's to go back to the beginning. So a lot of people don't know this, as the video is no longer up. I took it down a very long time ago just because I just wasn't happy with it, you know, with the quality or anything like that, and just it didn't really kind of fit, you know, where the channel was going, or, you know, the kind of the mold for the channel that I created later. But the channel, or rather I should say I, began on YouTube by putting up a video where I was actually kind of ranting about traffic patterns in my area, if you can believe that, just on kind of the stupidity of human, you know, idiosyncratic stuff. On, you know, you're driving down the road on the highway, and all of a sudden, you know, traffic kind of grinds to a halt, and you're wondering why. You're thinking, you know, is there an accident? Is there something blocking the road? You know, yada yada yada. And on this particular occasion, I believe what was causing this was the accident had already been cleared. You know, it had already gone off to the side of the road. You know, the tow truck had showed up and everything to do that. It wasn't even a serious accident. It was just kind of a fender bender. And people were basically like stopping to kind of rubberneck. You know, I guess that's where the term comes from, you know, because you're rubbernecking. And it's like people were looking at, I mean, it wasn't even like a big, you know, catastrophic car accident or something with bodies laying all over the place and stuff like that. That's what I was expecting, you know, with the level of traffic that was sitting in front. I'm like, damn, this must be serious. But no, it's like your just basic fender bender. And people were like looking on the side of the road at like a car in the back of a tow truck like they'd never seen it before. And I'm just thinking, like, what are you people, from a different planet or something? I mean, this is ridiculous. Like the fact that this, you know, tens of thousands of cars are having to stop on the road just because people are mystified by a fucking tow truck. That just, God, that made me so mad. And I just went home with my recently purchased Flip, not even the Flip HD, like the old school little kind of boxy, look almost like a Nokia cell phone, Flip video camera with my little, I don't even think I had a tripod at that point. I think it's like stacked on some books or something to kind of set it up right. The angle was wrong. There was no lighting. The audio was horrible and everything. I mean, it's just fucking horrible. I mean, it's just terrible video. But, you know, I guess you got to start somewhere. So that's pretty much how it started, man. That was the genesis of the channel, where that's, you know, kind of my first idea of like, you know, I've got something to say here, and I've got something to say. Yeah, exactly. So that's how my voice on social media kind of began, where I just had something I wanted to talk about and just turn on the camera, and here we go.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Mike from the Retrolectors, and I would like to congratulate Jimbo and the Retro Game Lounge on 10 years of YouTube excellence. 10 years. I remember my first year of YouTube, that was 5 years ago, and seeing someone like Jimbo in the comment section of one of my first videos. I wasn't even at my first 100 subscribers yet, and someone as big at the time as Jimbo was at 10,000, I was dumbfounded that someone that had that subscriber base was looking back at one of my videos and actually commenting and sharing my videos. through those years of actually YouTube, me and Jimbo have gone and done our own little things. He's done pickup videos and a bunch of other bits of content, and myself doing a few other things as well. And I would like to thank him to keep inspiring me to become a better YouTuber.
So not long after that was when I really started getting into what's known in the gear, knife, and gun community as EDC, which stands for Everyday Carry. I'm sure a lot of my old school people here know what I'm talking about, but maybe some of the RGL people aren't aware of that. And that's just things like, having a flashlight on you, the type of wallet you carry, a pocket knife, all the way up to and including, concealed carry of a firearm. And this is when I was just kind of start getting into, or back into, collecting folding knives, which is something that I was really into when I was younger, in my teens, like my mid to late teens. I'd really started getting into pocket knives. There was a local knife chain in my area called Chesapeake Knife and Tool. That was basically the place you went when you wanted, a pocket knife. And they carried Spyderco and Kershaw, all the usual brands and everything like that. And they were actually a pretty decent shop, relatively knowledgeable people. Of course, they had what I'll call the mall ninja shit, with like swords and crap on the wall, which is like, yeah, the people who buy these don't know crap about this shit. They're just want to like play fucking fantasy sword fighting shit. And yeah, although those people that I would call mall ninjas that you would see in the mall who have like a long trench coat in the middle of summer and they're carrying like a fucking machete or whatever under there, just like, really, dude? Like, okay. So this is, kind of when I started getting a little bit more into pocket knives, this is kind of when YouTube was still getting its druthers. This is only like a few years after YouTube had started. And the idea of like a gear review was actually kind of in its infancy. There wasn't too many people out there doing that kind of thing. And I started watching, videos like that, like guys like my buddy Edge Weapon 88, just, talk about these things, and I just became sort of fascinated with it. And, I made a purchase or two. I think the first knife I bought was the Hibben Pro from United Cutlery, which eventually became the Hibben Tailwind. I think that was one of my first knife reviews. And of course, again, the lighting is terrible, like the camera work is horrible, the audio is, but like everything about this is just fucking terrible. I'm pretty sure the video is still up. I don't think I took it down. Excuse me, but yeah, I mean, it just had to start somewhere. This is before the modern format of the knife review was really a thing. That whole, ethos was just kind of developing, much different from the way it is today. And just went over this, you go over the specs and everything like that, talk about what you like about it, etc., and just, kind of put it out there. And, as things seem to go on YouTube, one knife review became two became four, then I started doing Maxpedition stuff, then it became, just anything and everything that I could talk about on camera. I mean, it's like a young teenage boy who just discovered masturbation. Like, you just don't know when too much is enough. And I was cranking out, 3, 4, 5, 6 videos a week, doing one every day, sometimes doing 2 or 3 a day, shooting them back to back and just keep going through them, because it becomes an addiction when you start it. And then, you kind of learn, just through trial and error, like, maybe I need to slow down, kind of focus on quality and, kind of rethink the way that I'm doing this, develop a format, develop a system, a standard, and just kind of adhere to it, give people a reasonable expectation for what they should expect, when they tune into my channel. So, as previously mentioned, the original name for my channel was Mr. Jimbo Fox. That just kept it kind of short and sweet because I didn't really know what else to call it, so I just thought I would name it after myself and just put it out there. And as I said before, just started knife reviews, gear reviews, and things like that. And then I don't know what gave me the idea. I don't think that it was me seeing something on YouTube. That's not the way I remember it, because I don't remember really anyone else doing this when I did it. I mean, I'm not trying to put myself out there and take credit for it, but I wasn't inspired by another channel to do this. It was more just like, I just had a crazy idea for doing a video on Halloween, and it just happened to be focused around zombies, and I figured that would be kind of festive. Halloween's my favorite holiday. And that's pretty much what stemmed, the Mr. Jimbo Fox's Zombie Apocalypse Survival Kit, version 1.0, before, before I even really knew what that kind of thing was, and just it was kind of just a great experiment. And at the time, I think I was right around the 100 subscriber mark, maybe, something like that, like maybe in the 80s or the 90s or something like that. And I put it out on Halloween and just put it out there. And then basically literally overnight, when I went to see how the video was performing, I noticed that overnight, this had outperformed almost every video that I had put out combined, and my subscriber count tripled, basically overnight. And I was like, holy shit, I have 200 or 300 subscribers at this point. I was like, wow, people are actually kind of into this, and the comment section was just blowing up and everything. And that was kind of my first taste of what we call it social media success. I use that word very, very loosely, but it's just fascinating to me how just that one thing just kind of took off and became its own thing. And the next thing I know, my peers on YouTube, not that they were copying off me or anything like that, but just I noticed that a lot more people started putting out zombie kits. That just kind of became a thing. And then you kind of move things along, and that's when I first started talking to different YouTube channels. More specifically, two people. The Cajun Blaze, who I'm still friends with to this day. Hey Brian, we're still friends on Facebook, and he's still out there kicking around on YouTube with them awesome nouns crawfish boils. So, and then of course Edge Weapon 88, who again I'm still friends with to this day, Keelan, and that's when I started actually communicating with these people, and they were watching my stuff, I was watching their stuff, and it just kind of became a thing. They put out something, I put out something, and the community itself was, the small community that we were in was really starting to grow. The knife and gun and gear thing was really starting to take off, and more people were getting into it. The social interaction on it was really on the upswing. And the quality of the videos collectively as the community were really starting to go up. People were doing intros, people were doing editing, putting music in videos and things like that. And it just kept getting better and better with each respective video.
Hey Jimbo! Want to wish you a happy anniversary for the Retro Game Lounge. Really fun show to watch. Remember when I first saw Jimbo, he was reviewing a bunch of knives, if I remember correctly. First thought that popped in my head is I better watch this guy, otherwise he might shank me. And then, of course, I discovered Dirt Flicks, which he does with a group of his friends, which is a lot of fun to watch. And as a matter of fact, I actually got onto the show totally by accident. I don't know how I did it. He was doing Hardline Miami or something like that, him and the gang. And I clicked to watch it, and I actually got into the feed. I don't know how I did it. But I was actually talking to Jimbo and stuff, and it kind of freaked him out at first. And, of course, I was drunk at the time. And one of the scenes they were showing in the movie is this guy on a motorcycle jumping out of the back of the van. And right off the bat, I started going, da 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 da. I thought it was funny. But anyway, that's how I ended up getting on the Dirt Flick show. But anyway, Jimbo, love all you do. You got a great arcade, man. Love your arcade. Hope you have another great 10 years of Retro Gaming Lounge ahead of you. And of course, happy anniversary again for the Retro Game Lounge.
So we fast forward a little bit, and we're about a year or so into it at this point, or maybe 2 years, and I've got dozens of gear reviews, knife reviews, even firearm reviews, things like that under my belt. Like for example, my review of the Ruger SR9, last time I checked, is one of the most watched videos of that subject on YouTube to this day. I'm amazed by that, because it's literally the first time that I ever spoken about a firearm on camera, and it was the first firearm I ever bought. So I was by no means an expert then. Not that I am now. I'm definitely not. But I was definitely a rookie when it came to talking about guns. And it just kind of, I still get comments on it to this day, just people saying oh, great, man, this is, such a helpful review and stuff. I'm just like, how did I get this right? I guess just standing on the shoulders of giants, watching people far better at it than me kind of taking off. And so we're fast forwarding to kind of the next Halloween, and Keelan and I had become really good friends at this point, and that's when I got the idea to, what if I do like a follow-up to the Zombie Kid video, because, the biggest criticism I got for the first one is like, dude, you don't have any guns. I'm just like, you're right, I don't. So it's like, I need to, if I'm going to do another one, I need to take this up a notch. So I'm like, I have pistols and stuff this time. I'm like, I should talk about this. And that's when I thought of the idea of like, why don't I make this like a community thing? Like, why don't I get some other channels involved? So I kind of put it out there to several of my peers, like Cajun Blaze and Edge Weapon 88, Zombie Tactics. I can't remember everybody, but I mean, there was quite a few people who were involved in this. My friend Roz, who later appeared in videos with me and Keelan. I can't remember his name, but I think his first name was Trevor. Like, there was a bunch of us that were involved in this, and I was kind of the de facto coordinator for all of these things, because I'd pitched the idea to everyone and wanted to know what everyone thinks, and we had to basically synchronize when we were going to release the video so that it was all kind of one thing together. And several of the videos were actually connected, so it was almost like an episodic kind of storyline. Like, if you go back and you watch mine and you watch Edge Weapon 88's, there's like a sequence in mine where you get to see like my side of the phone conversation. You watch his, you get to see the other side of the phone conversation. And, it almost became like a story-driven narrative, like one thing connecting to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing, kind of just became its own animal. And I mean, I think there was a better part of 9 or 10 people in the YouTube community who submitted for this, and it was fantastic, man. The response for this was great. That so many people were just like, holy shit, this is like a, before it was even a term like shared universe, the way that like Marvel and all the other comic book companies and movie studios are doing this thing these days. Like, we kind of had our own YouTube shared universe before that was even in the zeitgeist. And it just be kind of, the thing took on a life of its own and just kind of took off. And we did another one, the next year we did Zombie Kid 3.0, and again, we connected some of the channels and things like that and just kind of ran with it. And, to this day, it's still one of my most viewed videos. So then we get to kind of the first transition point in the channel where I was really starting to branch out and wanting to do other things, and I was really kind of getting tired of the gear, knife, and gun community rigmarole. To be more specific, guys like Nut and Fancy and stuff, which I don't really care for and never have liked, that kind of whole kind of gear snob crew. That was kind of the antithesis of everything that I stood for. As far as my review style and just my approach on life, my approach on a lot of things. And I was certainly not alone on that. I'm not going to throw anyone under the bus, but there's quite a few people in that same community who weren't fond of that kind of thing either. And the I'll call it the toxicity of some of, not just the people on YouTube, but in some of the comments, just started to get a little bit much for me, where I was just like, this isn't fun anymore. Just people were just really going off the reservation about this shit, and my desire to do it was kind of shrinking. It wasn't gone yet, but it was definitely on the downswing, where I was just like, this isn't what it used to be. So that's when I called my buddy Chuck over, and we just kind of did an experiment where I was like, what if we just like played like an old school video game, and I got a little capture card here, and what if we record it and just kind of do our thing with it and just see what happens. And that was the birth of the beginning of the Retro Game Lounge series, and why I renamed the channel to the Jimbo channel, because it was like, I just figured, it was basically, the channel was becoming about me, even though the previous channel name was still me, but I was just like, maybe a little bit of rebranding to kind of broaden my horizons. And I believe I put up a video explaining this, where I was just like, I want to branch out and do other stuff. I'm not gonna completely abandon the gear stuff. At least at that point, I wasn't. But I want to do other things. And little factoid for you guys: the original name for Retro Game Lounge wasn't Retro Game Lounge; it was Retro Game Room. And I was like, that's a stupid name. Like, I don't know. But that came and went with the pilot episode, and like the second episode, it was rebranded Retro Game Lounge. I thought that had a way better ring to it. Because we're hanging in the lounge, playing retro games, and that was the beginning of that transition in the channel.
So yeah, so it's Jimbo's 10th anniversary. Wow. So you've been on YouTube for 10 years, eh? Oh man, I technically started back in 2007 when I uploaded my cousin's videos from Iraq. So I'm surprised YouTube hasn't flagged my channel and destroyed it by now, since I'm pretty sure those videos are confidential. Oh well. But then I get flagged for stupid shit that plays in video games. Alright, whatever. But anyway, wow, Jimbo, congratulations on your milestone. I remember we met way back. Oh gosh, when we were both in well, I still am, I think. We were both in Corey's group, gaming. What was it? Oh, Gaming Central. Yeah. Oh my God, I couldn't think of it. When we were back in Gaming Central. I remember he posted a couple videos, and I think one time, one Friday, I think he posted something about Dirt Flicks. I was like, oh, let me check this out. What does this mean? And here I didn't realize they were like basically like an underground mystery science theater where they like make fun of crappy old movies. And it took me forever to finally figure out how to comment, because back then, oh God, I sound old. Way back in the day, yeah, it was like impossible to comment. It was like really weird. You had to like go in another tab, and it was just so annoying. It's not now. It's easy right now, but yeah. So I was commenting, and I was like putting jokes too, because I usually always like make fun of videos, and then I think Jimbo asked me like, oh yeah, you should come on and hang out with us. I'm like, oh okay, sure, that sounds good. So the rest is history. Now I'm a part of the Dirt Flicks crew, and I also been checking out Jimbo's other videos. I checked out his retro game haul videos, and I also check out his annual Christmas room tours, which I thoroughly enjoy. I find it's definitely not the holidays without watching Jimbo's room tour videos. I definitely like the music he puts in his, like the 8-bit Christmas music playing in the background. It's always a nice touch. That's like one of my favorite things, watching his room tour videos. And I also like watching his retro game hauls. He finds like so much epic stuff. It's crazy. And I remember he used to find stuff for like dirt cheap, like it's like super expensive. Like, man, that's crazy. I wish I could come across those deals. So yeah, what else? Yeah, oh yeah, trying to think what other things I wanted to say. So also when he used to do live streams, I remember he used to rage, and I remember myself, I rage when I play video games all the time. Because I'm crazy, but I thought no one could top me until I watched his live streams. I was like, oh my God, he's like just as crazy as I am. I was like, this is funny. So, oh my God, it was hilarious watching his live streams. I wish he would do that more. I know he's probably busy with other stuff. So, yeah, whenever if I'm available and he's doing a live stream, I'll usually jump in. But, yeah, I mean, that's basically all I've got. Congratulations, Jimbo, on your milestone, and here's to another 10 years.
So then we get to the shaving video, which to this day I'm still amazed at. It's one of the most, I think at one point it was the most viewed barber shave video excuse me, on YouTube. I forget what it's up to at this point, like 1.5 million views, something like that, where it's just, to this day, I think it's still my most commented video. There's like thousands of comments on that thing, where I don't know why that did so well. That's just kind of this one freak occurrence on my channel that just kind of exploded, and the crowd on it seems to be pretty divided. Like half the people that comment are, snobbish assholes, and the other people are like, thanks for putting this up, man. I want to go get this shaved now. And I don't know, man. Like, I don't have the explanation on that. I wish I knew the formula for that. So every video I did got 1.5 million views, or at least half of that would be nice. But I don't know, man. Like, some of these things is just pure blind luck, and I guess that one was just right place, right time, and as a result, I believe I mentioned this previously in a previous video, but that video actually got me recognized at work, where someone approached me, someone I kind of knew, you know, not a direct coworker or anything, but it was like, "Did you do like a shaving video on YouTube?" And I was like, "Yeah, that was me." And he was like, "I wanted to go and get that shave. I just want to know your thoughts on it and stuff." And yeah, I mean that's just the one my one 0.15 seconds of fame, I guess, that has yet to be repeated and probably never will. Just one of those things, I guess. I don't think that I could talk about the history of my channel without talking about one particular individual in specific. A person who's not only been a part of my channel in the past, but is also one of my dearest friends. And through the magic of the cheesiest editing possible, Edge Weapon 88 is here, my pal Keelan, for the first time on Retro Game Lounge.
That is correct.
The last time that you were here, it was either the Jimbo channel or Mr. Jimbo Fox. I don't remember which, because I can't make up my mind about the name of my own channel, apparently. Probably the Force Multiplier video.
Correct. Yeah.
I think was the last one that we did. So yeah, man, freaking couple of OG knife people here, man. Like one of the freshman class when YouTube was still kind of in its infancy, and like reviewing things was just starting to become a thing.
Yeah, young and stupid.
Yeah, I mean, it's like he's like officially like completely retired from YouTube, and I've just gone off to do something like completely different. I'm retired from knives and gear and stuff, but I just kind of went in a totally different direction. But no, I think he's the one guy from YouTube that I have been in constant contact with since the beginning. And you were one of the first guys to reach out to me on YouTube. You were probably like my first YouTube friend, actually. I don't remember when you reached. I don't remember what triggered us talking. It was probably like one of us watching the other person's video. I don't remember what. It's like I remember the first thing we did together was my second Zombie Kit video. That was the first thing that we went in on. But do you remember?
I think we started like personal messaging after watching each other's videos, and I think you brought up something about video games, and that's what connected us.
Okay. Yeah, then we started playing Call of Duty World at War, and all we did was like zombie shit. Like that's we had like Dirt Rice down to like science at one point. So yeah, that was definitely a thing for a while, and then the Zombie Kit video came along, which is like that was the first thing we like went in on, and then the following year we did the follow up to that, and we involved like even more people in the YouTube community. It just kept getting bigger and bigger, and the third one was my last one. Was that your last zombie video?
Third, yeah.
Okay, that was when I was just like. So if for anybody's wondering like why like neither of us have done a follow up to that, I'm not gonna speak for Keelan, but for me personally, it's because I don't think I can do better than that.
No.
It's like I think that was probably like the best swing I could take at it. But you never know. Like maybe I'll get an idea one day, and maybe I'll dust off the vest with the Jimbo patch and all the other ridiculous shit, and come out of retirement for one more go against the fictional zombie army. But
just make sure I'm in the video.
Oh, dude, no, wouldn't that be like the logical like follow up to that? Because like we hint at it in part 2 and part 3, like that we're gonna meet up. Like if we didn't do it, it'd be like, what the fuck is taking them so long? It's like what are they? It's like they're in the same state, or at least we were at some point. It's like it's not that big a state. What the fuck? So no, if we did that, it'd be like either the point of the video would be us together, or like the ending of the video would be us finally coming together.
Yeah.
I think that's the only reason or circumstances that I would be willing to do it. But since we're talking about zombie videos, since I get asked about this a lot, I don't know if you still do to this day, but I still get questions on this. Like just like what was I going for as far as the zombie video thing? Was I being serious? Was I being funny? What is it really? I'll speak for me on this, and I'll let you throw your 2 cents in. Guys, I was basically parodying a lot of the big time gear YouTubers. Like a lot of people thought I was being serious about like this is what I'm including in my zombie kit, when it's really just satire. Like I mean, if you really watch the details of the video, you'll notice that I'm not referring to myself like by my first name. I'm referring to myself like almost in the third person. Like, you know, like I'm not Jimbo. I'm Mr. Jimbo Fox, Zombie Destroyer. Like it's like Dwayne Johnson versus The Rock. Like he's basically just playing a character, like himself with the volume turned all the way up. That's what I was going for, at least.
And if you watch your video, it's quite clear, and anyone who takes a different interpretation of that.
Well, apparently it's not quite clear because I still get questions on this. People are like, yeah, but what about this, and that? I'm like, did you not get the joke?
Okay.
Like, I mean, just all the stupid shit that I throw in there, I'm just like, how much more of a cartoon do I have to be before people stop taking me seriously? You played yours at least a little more straight-laced than I did.
Well, I'm not as fun on camera as you.
Oh, yes you are.
No, I mean, I did the same thing. I wasn't taking the video seriously. It was a joke to have fun. The comedy was in the comments, though. The people who were actually taking it seriously and watching them argue back and forth and asking if this is actually what you're going to carry in the zombie apocalypse.
Yes.
Sure, yeah, just go with that, buddy.
I know. It's like, the only people that I knew that got the joke were other YouTubers. Mm-hmm. I eventually did a kind of a follow-up. This was after the where I did a video with Adam from Equipped to Endure where he asked me to come out and he wanted me to come out in character. I was like, really? And he was like, yeah. He's like, I want you to do it. Like, I get it. I was like, okay, this dude gets it. You know, we're out there like blowing up pumpkins and shit. I mean, it's like, yeah, like that dude totally got it, and it's stupid. Like, we're just kind of having fun. Like, we're doing like the Matt Best thing before Matt Best existed. Like, you know, we could kind of give ourselves a little pat on the back and just be like, we were first. Like, we were making fun of the gear community long before he was. But in all due respect, I fucking love Matt Best. That guy's funny as shit. I thoroughly enjoy his videos, and if nothing else, man, I'm glad that like that dude's carrying the torch, so that we don't have to anymore.
He does it far better than we do.
Oh, dude, way better than we do. Plus, he's got the bikini snap, which neither of us had. Like, I have a Bing, and your bearded ass appears. Like, that's all I can afford. I can't afford a bikini snap. I don't have that Matt Best money, bro. So, but as far as like the knife gear, like gun community thing, like as far as the way things have changed, like it's a very different environment than it was when you and I started.
For sure.
You know, we're talking 10 years ago at this point. My personal reason for like stopping, guys, and I've never addressed this on camera, like I get asked a lot, you know, why'd you stop doing this? Like, why'd you just do the video games? Well, video games, because I love doing the video game thing. Like, I don't need a reason to talk about something I love other than the fact that I love it. But as far as why I stopped the gear, knife, and gun thing, it's because it stopped being fun. Like, the audience and the environment and just the general kind of ethos of that particular part of YouTube changed, and in my opinion, not for the better, because people started taking shit way too seriously, and they stopped having fun with things. You know, people stopped doing zombie kit videos just to have fun and just, you know, kind of lampoon themselves and everything. You know, if a reviewer left out with like one tiny piece of minutia from a review, like people were just like jumping on like, you didn't mention this and that. Yeah, what about this and that? It's like, guys, like, it's one person's opinion. Like, what's the big deal? Like, it became so toxic and critical that I was just like, I don't want to do this anymore.
I agree.
You know, I mean, not that there isn't plenty of that in the video game market. Oh, believe me, like the fucking sweatlord nerds in video games, like, yeah, what about this game and this guy? It's just as bad sometimes. Like, I mean, it really is. But I think the positive outweighs the negatives in that, because I think the video game people kind of have a little bit more fun. I mean, they kind of have to, because what they're doing by definition is recreation. You know, video games are fun. It's right there in the title, game. You know, it's supposed to be for fun. So the majority of people take it a little bit less seriously. There are fucking nerds out there who just think like, dude, you're doing this like entirely wrong. And I'm like, okay, sorry. You know, I tried, but the gear community way different. But what have you seen as far as the changes? Like what?
Well, I'll echo what you said. It became, it wasn't as fun anymore. And when I started doing the videos, I was doing it to kind of share my opinion and thoughts about a knife, but it also evolved into, I really enjoyed the process, and making a video was more for me than anything else. And once that whole process, you know, wasn't fun, was time consuming, you weren't really getting anything out of it as far as monetization. Once all those things kind of crumbled, it wasn't worth the time and effort. And life crap happens, and it becomes lower on the scale of things that you can do.
Funny you should mention that. That's a perfect segue into the next topic we're going to cover here. Okay, so we're going to give you guys a little treat here, and you're going to get a genuine reaction from this bearded motherfucker right here. So I have on a monitor next to the camera here, I have the very first picture that Keelan and I were in person when we met for the first time at the very first Force Multiplier. We've been friends for months before that, like playing video games, but this is the first time that the two of us had shared space. So we're going to get the genuine reaction. We're going to show you an updated photo here in a second. Okay, so...
Jesus Christ.
Wow! Things have changed just a little bit.
Took that hair and put it here.
Yeah, his face absorbed my head, basically. And Keelan stopped kind of following the whole Ethiopian diet like type thing. It's like, Jesus Christ, man. It's like, you look at that, I'm gonna be like, bro, eat something, man. This skinny little bastard. But to be fair, like,
That's incredible.
Keelan is very, very young in this. What are you, like, 21? Something like that?
Yep.
And I'm 30-ish, something like that, 30, 31, something like that. I'm 9 years older than he is. So, yeah, this was the very first Force Multiplier when, yeah, you hadn't discovered weights and I hadn't discovered powerlifting. It looks like we ate ourselves to become more powerful. Like we ate the old version of us and now it's like, you know.
That's pretty awesome.
It looks like I ate you and I'm like, yeah, I'm fucking more powerful now. So that's, I just look at me and I see like, dude, that looks like me, like depowered. Like, what the fuck? You know?
That was a fun day, but...
It was. That was a very fun day. It was really hot that day too, I remember. That was a freaking scorcher at, what's the name of this place again?
It's Mardella Springs on the eastern shore of it.
Yes. Awesome outdoor range. We need to go back there at some point.
It's a great range. They don't really give two shits as long as you don't shoot something.
No, they really don't. Like, I mean, we're out on the pistol range, like, breaking barrier, like, going up close and shit. No one ever said a thing. Like, we're just kind of doing whatever, we're setting up targets and shit. No one's shooting pumpkins, we're shooting soda bottles. Like, no one's ever said shit. So, it's, you know, you pay a flat rate and you can just stay out there as long as you want.
Yeah.
I mean, if we ever do another Force Multiplier, like, wouldn't it make sense?
Yeah.
You know, go back to where it all started. I think.
Yeah.
It's a nice little trek. Plus, you're a lot closer to that now.
Not that much, but closer.
You're closer than I am. It's still a drive. It's still 3 hours for me, but you're at least on the right side of the state line.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, no, well, to get there you are.
Yeah.
You're on the wrong side of the gun state line. But, no, man, it's been really cool being this dude's friend for this long because, like, it is. Because, like, he's, like, the only YouTube guy that I've talked to who I've been friends with, like, through the entire, like, metamorphosis of my channel, where, you know, he was with me when I started, you know, just doing the knife review thing. That's how we became friends, and we're still pal. I mean, I was at his wedding, you know, for crying out loud. You know, I mean, nothing has really changed, and we're talking about this recently. He and I have literally never had one single, like, fight, like, ever. Like, we bicker like he's my kid brother or something like that. We bicker like siblings, but we've never really had, like, a little, like a fuck off kind of fight. Like, ever, because most of the stuff we tend to agree on.
I think we're both level-headed people, and we can argue well, but we can also respect the other person's opinion, even if you disagree.
And laugh at each other.
That's most
Give each other shit. Like,
yeah.
no, it's like every time we talk, like, I'm always busting his balls. I'm just like we were talking about eggs recently, for example, where we're talking about how the number of eggs that both of us eat in a day, which is a lot, by the way. He's like, well, I only eat four eggs a day. I'd be like, well, if you ate more, maybe you'd be more swole, bro.
Yeah.
It's just a fucking idea. And I'm like, yeah, I'm making fun of a guy who's like a 4-time Ironman and shit, and yeah, it's making fun of Jordan when he misses one free throw, and I'm just like, what'd you miss, bro? Like, what are you, fucking amateur? No, he knows it's a fucking joke. No, so I'm over here just being fat skinny. Because that was like normal. That was normal skinny to me. Now it's like fucking swole skinny. Yes, you know, I'm gonna go with swole skinny. I'm just gonna do that, or swole fat. I don't know. Are you skinny fat or are you fat skinny? And what's the difference? I've never understood that. I don't know which one I am. Like, am I a fat skinny guy or am I a skinny fat guy?
Yes.
I don't know. Who cares? Swole. That's all that matters. But no, it's been an awesome ride just being this dude's friend, and he's like, he's the only guy I know in the gear, knife, and gun community who's never asked me, like, dude, do you just, like, stop using, like, knives and gun stuff because he knows me personally? It's like, has that part of my life changed, in your opinion?
Not one bit.
I mean, you know, I still like guns. We still do occasionally go shooting. We have a shooting date that's actually long overdue, where I need to go test out my fancy new AR, and I'm waiting for this motherfucker to free up range time so we can go do that. But no, like the last time I was over at your house, like Hillary, his wife, like left the room because we brought out the toys. Mm-hmm. She's like, okay, the boys are gonna play with toys, and we're like, yep. Mm-hmm. It's like just bringing out the guns, looking at the Die Hard gun and shit. I was like, ooh, shiny. You know, it's like, yes, I am every bit still that person. It's just not on YouTube.
Yeah, and likewise, I probably get more than I did back in the day, but just don't make a video about it.
Oh, dude, you are 80,000 times more of a gun sweat lord than you ever were on YouTube. Seriously, like this dude right here is like the champion of gun collecting. It's fucking ridiculous, man. He's like, if fucking Burt Gummer from Tremors were like a real dude and he were like 30 years younger, he'd basically be Keelan.
That's a compliment.
It is. Like if you took you and me combined, you basically have Burt Gummer. Because he's like angry at the world and he's like older and you put you and me together, like your collection and my attitude, you've got Burt Gummer. Like we're ready to fuck some graboids up. So that's a compliment, bro.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, but thanks for hanging out with me, bro. Welcome to Retro Game Lunch.
Anytime.
It's your first time. We're gonna have to get you on here to actually play some games at some point, though.
Let's do it.
Because that's kind of what we do here. You know, I know that's not very popular in the TMP crowd, but I don't care because we're having way more fun. But who knows? You may see another force multiplier at some point. We'll see. I mean, if it happens, he'll be there.
I hope so.
You kind of have to be.
I hope so.
I mean, it's only force multiplier if it's both of us, right?
That's correct.
Because if it's just one of us, then there's no multiplier. There's no math there.
Good job.
Thanks.
What's up, guys? My name is Kyle, and you probably know me as one of the hosts from Dirt Awakens. I am here to wish my brother and good friend a happy 10 years on YouTube. I met Jimbo back in the very early days of his channel, actually when he had hair, and he had filmed a teaser trailer for his zombie survival kit. At the end of the video, there was a song clip that I didn't know who the band was, so I messaged him up. He seemed like a really, really cool dude, so I subscribed to his channel. I started watching all his videos, and after that, he had started Dirt Flicks. I thought the show was amazing. I tried to be there every episode in the chat with these guys, just talking as much shit as possible. And over time, him and the host at the time asked me to be on the show. I accepted, had a very, very fun time, and needless to say, here I am, still a current host, and I'm a dirty bastard for life. And speaking of Dirt Flicks, on August 31st, we'll be having the 50th episode. And for the first time, you're going to have 5 dirty bastards in the same room at the same time. Let me repeat that. 5 dirty bastards in the same room at the same time. So we invite all of you to come out and join us. Get in the chat with us. Talk as much shit. We're going to be having a full day of filming, not just Dirt Flicks at the end of the day. And like I said, just come out, have a blast with us. Talk a bunch of shit. Let's watch a horrible movie. And I hope all of you join in with me when I say, brother, I hope you have another amazing 10 years on YouTube of Full Tilt Fuckery. And we love you very much. And we look forward to seeing more and more content from you.
So then we get to Dirt Flicks, which was just a stupid little experiment that I guess I just got it in my head one day that, you know, when going YouTube live, like YouTube live streaming was just starting out, this was probably within the first 4 or 5 months of that existing, and that was basically my first attempt at it, where I was just kind of playing around with it. And I was always an MST3K fan. For those of you don't know, a Mystery Science Theater 3000. I was huge into that in high school, man. I absolutely loved that. And, you know, just watching crappy movies when I was younger, you know, when I was in my late teens and early 20s, was just like, it was like a thing. that my friends and I would do, and we would call them dirt flicks. Watch a dirt movie, and when we would make fun of them, we would call it like dick smacking or smacking for short. Like, us just kind of smacking the movie over the head and just talking about how fucking bad it was. And it almost became like a competition between myself and my friends when we'd go to like Best Buy or Suncoast Video. There's a blast from the past for you. And we would almost like try and see like who could come up with the shittiest movie. Like, it almost became like a sport between us, where like I would buy one or someone else would buy one, like, dude, look at this piece of shit I found at the video store. And then we would watch it and just kind of just ravage the fuck out of it and just make fun of it. And I just, kind of remembered that one day, and I was thinking, like, this would be kind of fun to do on YouTube, kind of with an audience, get the audience to participate in it and just kind of, do what I used to do. And the first episode was actually me and Edge Weapon 88. I had him on YouTube with me, connected. And we're just sitting there watching Poultrygeist, one of the Troma movies, and just having fun with it. Before I even knew what Dirt Flicks was gonna be or anything like that, I had no plans of it becoming a series. I figured it would just be kind of a one-off thing. But I think it was the better part of a year later, by the time I got around to part 2, and I think the second one was still called Movie Night with Jimbo, if I remember right. I might have renamed it Dirt Flicks later, but we watched, I think it was one of the sleepaway camp movies, and then I think by the time we got to the third episode was when it was officially rebranded Dirt Flicks, which was when my original co-host Wild came on to help me out with it, because he was one of the original guys in my group of friends who would make fun of these things. We called ourselves like Dirt Patrol. That was kind of our de facto name for ourselves, like this kind of core group of people who would make fun of stupid shit like this. And that was when the series, I guess, started finding traction and people started watching. And that's when I met Savage Matt. That's when I met Kyle. I mean, that was kind of the beginning of me talking to these people. And as you can, for anyone who follows Dirt Flicks, you can see, like, I liked hanging out with those people so much, and they were such regulars. I was like, hey, why don't you come and be on the show? And dude, I'll tell you, man, I'll give you guys a little quick Savage Matt memory, man. Like, I talked to Savage Matt like several times at this point on Skype, and dude, I will never forget the day that, I discussed this with Wild, and I was just like, why don't we get him on the show? I think this would be a really big deal to him. I will never forget the day that he was on his first episode of Dirt Flicks, or more importantly, when I told him, would you like to come on and be like a guest host on Dirt Flicks? And he's like, are you serious? We're like, yeah. Like, why not? And, in the lobby when we're kind of gearing up to go live and everything, I've got, him in the room and stuff, and I'm going through my, spiel, like, hey everyone, welcome to the greatest show on the internet about the worst movies on the internet. And dude, he's just like smiling from ear to ear. Like, this was like the greatest moment of his fucking life. And that was such a big deal to me, that I could help out a guy, who had such health issues and was kind of basically confined to his house, because of these health issues, that I could just make someone's day like that a little bit brighter. Just absolutely meant the world to me. And I love going back and watching those episodes of Dirt Flicks, when it was all of us together, and just to watch the reactions and stuff. And to this day, they still make me laugh. I mean, the funniest people that I know are my friends. Far funnier than, any professional comedians that I've ever seen. I mean, I love, like Bill Burr and Joe Rogan and stuff like that, no disrespect to them, but the funniest people I know are just my friends. They just crack me up just being themselves. And, what better way to celebrate that than to do something like Dirt Flicks, where to me it's an excuse to hang out with my buddies and just watch a piece of shit movie. And that's something that I would do anyways. Like, even if we weren't putting it on YouTube for other people to participate, if it was just us watching pieces of shit, I would do that anyways. And there's kind of, I guess you'd call them some lost episodes of Dirt Flicks where, me and Savage Matt, or me and this person, me, that person, actually watched movies offline and we're talking over Skype or whatever, and we just kind of had our own kind of like miniature episode of Dirt Flicks that wasn't recorded and will never see the light of day. Like, the one that comes to mind is I watched the Masters of the Universe movie with Savage Matt. And I swear to God, that is probably the hardest I have ever laughed in my entire life. When I think the question that I asked him was, we're probably like 20 minutes into the movie where, Tila, who's wearing that like skin tight kind of catsuit shit going on. I'm like, dude, would you fuck Tila? And he's like, dude, I'd fuck Wildor. And I thought that that was the most comedically genius thing that I think anyone has ever said. Like, it was just off the cuff. He didn't think about it or anything like that. It was just shooting from the hip. I must have laughed for 10 straight fucking minutes of that shit, to the point where I think we had to pause the movies. I was laughing so damn hard I couldn't breathe. And that was the genesis of the whole, like fuck Gwildor thing. You know, it's why we sent him the little Gwildor figure for his birthday and everything, and that became Savage Matt's calling card, is that he wants to fuck Gwildor, like a little hairy dwarf from a fictional sword and sorcery movie. On to, we'll call it like making friends, not making friends on YouTube. I guess I kind of have a checkered past with that, man, because it's, you're not really checkered, but just more like kind of hit or miss, where I've made some absolutely amazing friends via YouTube, and I wouldn't trade that for anything. You know, if it wasn't for YouTube, I wouldn't know Kyle, I wouldn't know Mark, I wouldn't know Savage Matt, I wouldn't know my buddy Mike from Retrolectors. There's a ton of people that I would have never met otherwise. Excuse me, if it wasn't for this crazy invention called YouTube. But at the same time, and this is just some advice, you know, for anyone thinking about starting, or for anyone who is out there on YouTube. In my personal experience, guys, like 50% of the people you meet on YouTube are full of shit. And you know, if any of those people are watching this, you know who you are. So it's just one of those things, man, where I don't think it's that different from life. You know, where, like, you know, half the people you meet are assholes. That's just the case. Like, especially in the gear, knife, and gun community, there's so many fucking posers, man, and that are just, it's all for show and none for go. And I found to be the same case in the retro gaming community, or in the gaming community, is that there's douchebags, like, everywhere. Just people that are double talking, double crossing asshats, who will say one thing to your face, but then just go talk shit behind your back. When you've bent over backwards for them, you know, stuck your neck out for them, you know, defending them in public and stuff, and then it ends up, you know, you getting trolled or things like that, or people saying hateful things on your channel because you're sticking up for somebody, and then they just go and do some fucking shady bullshit like that. Yeah, those people can go suck a dick. I don't know what else to say. I mean, that would be the same approach that I have to those, to the same people that you would meet outside of YouTube, where it's like, really? You know, I mean, it's, take stuff with a grain of salt, guys. Like, I'm not trying to dissuade anyone from making friends on YouTube. Yes, go make friends. I've made awesome friends here on YouTube, and I think that's amazing, but at the same time, tread carefully. Not everyone is who they appear to be. There's a lot of snakes in the grass out there. There really is. So, watch yourself. So, as far as the future is concerned, I guess this would be the right time to announce this. I'm sure this is going to make at least like 2 people happy, maybe more. I don't know. If any of those old school folks have still stuck with me. By the time you're watching this video on YouTube, if you'll look in the description box, or I'll probably just put it on the screen here, I'll just make it easy for you. I have another channel that's actually up and running now with its initial video, which is an EDC video called the Iron and Gear Odyssey, where it's kind of a return to form to me, where I'm getting back into the whole, you know, EDC knife, gun, and gear thing. I don't want to give anyone any false pretenses. It's not going to be something that I'm doing full-time, not that I do RGL full-time. That's almost become like, you know, a dozen videos a year kind of thing. Sometimes maybe less, but that is something that I would like to do here and there. It will definitely be similar to what I've done in the past, you know, back in the old Mr. Jimbo Fox days, or MJF, where, you know, I'm gonna talk about stuff that I think is good, or, you know, stuff that I think sucks, you know, but at the same time, just like always with me, guys, you're gonna get it straight. I mean, you know, I was given stuff for review, like from Topps Knife Company and stuff, and I thought that the thing was a piece of shit, you know, and I had to say so. You know, there was a review that I put up of them where I gave them a chance to fix it, and they didn't, and I had to give a fair and balanced review, and that resulted in Topps Knife Company basically cutting me off from customer service, where even when I was, you know, trying to email them about something like just a question about one of their products, they basically stopped responding to my emails altogether. But I don't regret that. You know, if you put out a piece of shit and I think something sucks, I'm gonna say that. And, you know, when I had my when I had my kind of deal with Kershaw, when Kershaw was actually sending me knives, sending me T&E stuff. And that was the deal I had with the representative that I had when I was communicating with them, where I was just like, you know, I will be more than happy to take a look at these and to do a review on them, but at the same time, if I don't like something, I'm going to say so. Like, I'm going to be fair. I'm not just going to shit on it, but if I think something sucks, I'm going to say so. I can be polite about it. I will do my best to be professional about it, but I'm not going to pull punches. And Kershaw, to their credit, was very for it. They're like, you know, if we're doing something wrong, we want to know about it. You know, we want you to tell us about it. And I'd always make the same request where if you give me a knife for T&E, for review or whatever, give me another one so I can give it away. You know, I mean, you know, I'm getting something free out of it, but at the same time, I want to pay it forward and do something for one of my viewers and maybe make somebody's day. So I kind of doubt that I'll get any kind of sponsorship, you know, with a brand new channel. I think that has probably come and gone. You know, you never know. You know, maybe, you know, Kershaw, if you're watching this, which I know you're not, you know, maybe they remember who I am, but at the same time, I think the people that have established themselves in that community are probably the only people that will be considered for such a thing. So, but that's okay, guys. It's all good. Like, it's, you know, I'm throughout this entire thing, through all the transitions of my channel, guys, the EDC, the gun stuff, that has never stopped. I mean, it really hasn't. Like, that never went anywhere. It's just I stopped talking about it on YouTube. That was the only difference. But, you know, daily care of a firearm, a knife, a flashlight, you know, chapstick, you know, my G-Shock and all that other shit, that never changed, really. I mean, that whole core thing stayed as it was. So if I feel I've got something to add to that particular thing, that's when you're going to see something on the Gear and Iron, or the Iron and Gear Odyssey. Yeah, I mean, that's, like, I'm not just going to put up fluff just to put it up. When I really got something to say, that's when you're going to hear about it. Like, if I've got a product that I think is great, or something that I bought and I'm just like, wow, this is really not what it should have been, or not what they claimed it would be. I mean, something like that. Like, I've really got to have a strong opinion about it one way or another to talk about it. And just put it out there, and hopefully people find it useful. You know, that's my core thing. So I guess we'll see what happens with that. But as far as Retro Game Lounge is concerned, that's not going anywhere. You know, I mean, this isn't going anywhere. So, you know, live streams, you know, Retro Game Hall, you know, working with System Psycho. Of course, we've got Dirtflix 50 in August that I'm really looking forward to, everybody in the same room. All that stuff's not going anywhere. So I'm not, you know, kind of abandoning this to go back to that. It's more just like, I'll put that in its own little environment so that the people who want to watch that can, and the people who want to watch this can. So a quick short story before I wrap this up for you guys. One person asked me one time, you know, now that you've made the transition to Retro Game Lounge and the majority of the videos that you've done are in that arena, you know, why do you leave the old videos up? Is it just reviews? Do you get paid? All right, guys, I want to be really honest with you. The days of people getting paid on YouTube are virtually over with, unless you've got a really, really big subscriber base and really, really solid view counts. It is not what it was. You know, that whole Adpocalypse thing brought that shit to a grinding halt. I used to be making a couple $100s a month, you know, doing that stuff when I was doing the knife, gun, and gear thing. Yeah, those days are over with, guys. It's maybe a couple $100s a year. So, you know, that is over with. But it's just kind of a thing where, you know, I'm going to do what I'm going to do on this because I'm not worried about getting paid for it. I don't need to get paid for it, guys. I do pretty well in my respective life. Certainly not rich, you know, can't retire on it or anything like that, but I don't need to count on YouTube for income in that arena. It would be nice, you know, to help pay for some of this stuff, you know, when you put in all the work and everything, but it's not necessary for me to do this. So I'm just going to do it because I like doing it. Just that simple. You know, it doesn't really feel like work when I do it. I mean, it is work, you know, it's hours in the chair of, you know, editing and stuff like that, but at the same time, it's something I enjoy doing. So, I'm sorry, getting back to my original point, you know, somebody asked me why I left all the videos up. That's because, and I'm not going to call this person out or anything like that because this was said to me in confidence, but actually a disabled veteran had contacted me when I had originally taken the videos down. And he was like, you know, why did you do that? Like, I really enjoy watching these. And I'm just like, oh, shit. I was like, I got to put these back up. You know, and regardless of what anyone thinks, I'm going to do it for just that one person. If it's making someone's day, then I'm just going to do it. And I basically left them up for him. so that he could enjoy watching them. So that's why, guys. That's why they're still up on the Retro Game Lounge thing. Maybe I'll migrate some of them to the new channel. We'll see. Just one step at a time with that thing, guys. I gotta get my feet wet and get going on that. But I want to thank all of you, everyone who has ever watched any of my videos. Thank you very much for helping me get to this point. It has been an awesome 10 years. My friends on here, man, you guys are awesome. The viewers, everyone who watches Dirt Flicks, people who watch the Zombie Kid videos, man. This has been a fucking roller coaster. It really has. And I'm not going anywhere. So I'm still here. Things are changing. It's an ebb and a flow, but old Jimbo's here to stay, at least for now. So I guess I'll see you guys sometime in the future, either here or on the new channel. So if you're interested in that, go check it out. But thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it.